Shugor nakaslem jong unongsan Hima.
Kakanhun Menteri Kajila Hadin Belawai Kajingilang Lingba u Menteri Rangba Kajila Ukon Ratke Sangma Kalapentip Baka Sorkar Kalaminjur Badra Yaki Katu Katnitli Kiman Habakren Bakinong Thok Kubor Ha Kalai Potrik Ubanai Jiliu Arhajar Apun Rio u Menteri Rangba Kajila Ulapentip Baka Sorkar Kalaminjur Ya Kajin Pyntreikam Ya Ka Viksit Bharat Guarantee for Rozgar and Ajivika Mission Gramin Act Arhajar Apusan Kabalong kaan batamai ha kajaka jangka Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act kabaka Sorkar jila kladeb ban pinbha bat batamai minta nak benta kajing pentrei na kashispa sngi syaka shispa arpusan sngi bat ong bakani kade kabalawanra ha kaan kabatamai bat kiwei pat kibenta jong kajing penhe ya kajing trei barokawei ula pentepru baka Sorkar padeng kalabei tingka lingba kani kaan kumba Shihajar Shispa Klur Tingka Kum Kajingmang Bha Nakabenta Kajila Megalia Nakabenta Ki Khandai Benai Katana Du Kashitrik Ubanai Naitung Arhajar Apunrio Hadu Kalai Puitrik Ubanai Leber Arhajar Apunyo Kaban Pyntreikam Dakaan Barki Kendon Bathamai Hapo Kajila Shu Ulapentip Yaki Katu Katnitali Kimat Kibaka Sorkar Jila Kalashimrai Ban Minjur Yaki Mat Ban Pyntreikam Hapo Kajila.
We had also a cabinet meeting today. And in the cabinet meeting, we had taken up 7 items. The first item that we took up was the Viksit Bharat Guarantee for Rozgar and Ajivika Mission Gramin Act 2005. As you're aware that this is a new act in place of the MGNREG Act. And this has been enhanced now. And provisions like from minimum working days of 100 to increasing them to 125 days. This has been taken up in the new act, and other aspects of increasing the overall scope of work, where earlier projects like roads and connectivity were not given priority. They are now given priority. Earlier, Anganwadi centers, they were not allowed to be built under the MGNREGS scheme, but under this new Rozgar and Ajivika Mission, Gramin, you're allowed to build Anganwadi centers also. Similarly, schools were not allowed to be built in the earlier MGNREGS, but in the new guidelines, they have increased the number of projects. So now school buildings are allowed. Different programs for livelihood, which were not allowed in the beginning. Today, specific livelihood programs can also be taken up. Environment, water conservation, forest conservation, all of these programs can now be taken up. So there were earlier about 240 or 250 items you could take up. Now those items have gone up to 300 plus, almost 320 items have been included in the new act. And hence, this had to be adopted and passed by the cabinet, which we have done today. Apart from that, the government of India has sanctioned 1,100 crores as the normative allotment for Meghalaya for the next 9 months, because the implementation of this project will start tomorrow of this new act. So from 1st of July till 31st of March, this will be implemented by Meghalaya. For the first quarter, from April, May to June, the old MGNREGS scheme was being implemented with the old guidelines and the old act. But from tomorrow, the new guidelines and the new act will be applicable. And for this period of 9 months, from July to March 31st, the normative allotment given to Meghalaya is 1,100 crores. What is critical to know in this particular scheme is that the 1,100 crores is the normative allotment, and if the normative allotment goes beyond beyond the normative allotment, so suppose we end up spending 1,200 crores, so instead of 100 crores, the 1,100 crores is going to be shared as at 90-10 ratio, where 90% is paid by central government and 10% is paid by the state government. To going beyond the normative allotment, the states will have to bear the full amount of the additional amount that you spend. So if you end up spending 1,200 crores, then that 100 crores will fall completely on the state governments. So this is some issue and concern. We're hoping that this will be addressed in the coming years. As you're aware, in the last many years, especially from 2018 onwards, Meghalaya has performed exceptionally well, and almost every year in the last many years, Meghalaya has been able to take more than double of the normative allotment given to the state in most of the years. So where our normative allotment usually could be sometimes 700 crores, 800 crores in MG and RAGS, there were years where we had ended up utilizing and spending almost close to 1600 crores, which means the capacity to absorb had gone up. And that happened, and that's why we got, instead of getting 700 crores, which is what we were supposed to, in some years we got 1600 crores, 1500 crores. And that allowed us to spend more, and that also was a 90-10 ratio. But in the new scheme and new policy, for this year at least, if we go beyond our normative allotment of 1,100 crores, Meghalaya government will have to, not just us, every other state also will have to. So it's kind of a negative marking for states who are performing well beyond the normative allotment, are able to absorb more funds, which Meghalaya was able to do in the last 7 years continuously. So we are concerned about this because we know that we can do more. We know that we can absorb more. Our man days under MG and RAGS is almost touching one of the highest in the country, where most of the states are not able to utilize 100 days, but Meghalaya is like always 90 plus, because it requires continuous work, effort at the block level, at the level of the officers, at the secretariat level, and the competency at the VECs, where they need to demand the work, which needs to be then approved. So all of these things requires continuous effort and support, and only then are you able to utilize the money and the funds in a proper manner. And Meghalaya has been able to do that. So one of our concerns regarding the new act, which of course we will take up, and we hope that next year this particular aspect will not be there, which is, as I said, the limit of the normative allotment of 1,100 crores for these 9 months. Of course, since for 9 months it's 1,100 crores, so for 12 months, I expect that will be about 1,500 to 1,600 crores. We expect that next year our normative allotment should go up, and we're hopeful that government will not put a cap on their normative allotments and allow the states to absorb as per their capacity. Again, this is in line with what we were talking about. What came up today was the Meghalaya Money Lenders and Accredited Loan Providers Bill 2026. As you're aware, that this Money Lenders and Accredited Loan Providers Bill, or the act earlier, was the Assam Act. And we were for many years following the Assam Act, and therefore we decided that we are going to come up with our own act, and that's why this act has come into place. It is similar to what was there in the original act when we were part of Assam. It's in similar lines. But the main purpose of this act basically is to put a law in place to ensure that private money lenders are registered with the government. So the idea is that there are a lot of people who are lending money in the market, but a lot of them are not registered with the government. There is no system of monitoring them, and no system of ensuring that they don't completely rip off or completely take full advantage of the public and people who are in very difficult circumstances. And a mechanism is there to monitor them and to see the kind of rates that they charge. Number 6 is the amendment of the Meghalaya Public Service Commission Limitation of Functions Regulation 1972, deletion of Regulation 3F. This decision was a very, very important decision in our efforts to streamline the overall functioning of our personnel department. As you must be aware, that there was a provision under the delegation of regulations and the overall functioning of the MPSC, where a Rule 3F was always quoted. 3F is nothing but a basic appointment under special circumstances, where if MPSC is not able to complete the recruitment process on time and delays, then there's a special provision through which the cabinet, based on the recommendation of the department, can approve recruitment process being done by the department concerned in their own terms and conditions, and temporarily, till full recruitment is done, temporarily appoint somebody under 3F. That is the provision of 3F. Now, though this was required under special circumstances, we have seen in the last 20 years, 30 years since this provision has been there, that departments have done it sometimes even without the knowledge of the cabinet. And random appointments have been done, which then become long-term appointments, which then come to the state government, and then there's a demand that they be regularized and that they've been working for 10 years, 15 years, enhance, as I said, their overall position. And it's one of the points that was mentioned in certain memorandums that have been given to the government a couple of times by the MCS association. And slowly and steadily we are looking at how we can promote and support our officers and give them different opportunities. So keeping that in mind, this particular rationalization of the promotional hierarchy of the Meghalaya Civil Service, creation of 4 posts of Special Secretary and amendment of the Meghalaya Civil Service Rule 1975 was taken up today in the Cabinet, and it was cleared by the Cabinet. Number 5, it was the promotion to the post of Legal Remembrancer and Secretary to the Government of Meghalaya, the Law Department. As you know, as per the Act and as per the rules there in the Personal Department, when it comes to the Law Department, the post of the Legal Remembrancer and Secretary to the Government of Meghalaya Law Department, apart from the Departmental Promotion Committee, which is headed by the Chief Secretary, and apart from the different processes taken place by the Personnel Department and clearance from Chief Minister. For this particular post, exceptional post I should say, it requires the Cabinet to approve this particular post, which is a very rare case. But since the rules require that, so we have brought this today to the Cabinet, and the DPC had sat and they had looked into this entire aspect, and Mr. A. Sangma, who is one of the senior officials of the Law Department, was proposed as the Secretary Law, which was again, as I said, approved and pushed by the proposed by the Departmental Promotion Committee, and today it came as per the rules. It's come to the Cabinet, and Cabinet has approved, and the promotion, of the new Secretary. Number 6 is the amendment of the Meghalaya Public Service Commission Limitation of Functions Regulation 1972, deletion of Regulation 3F. This decision was a very, very important decision in our efforts to streamline the overall functioning of our personnel department. As you must be aware, that there was a provision under the delegation of regulations and the overall functioning of the MPSC, where a Rule 3F was always quoted. 3F is nothing but a basic appointment under special circumstances, where if MPSC is not able to complete the recruitment process on time and delays, then there's a special provision through which the Cabinet, based on the recommendation of the department, can approve recruitment process being done by the department concerned in their own terms and conditions, and temporarily, till full recruitment is done, temporarily appoint somebody under 3F. That is the provision of 3F. Now, though this was required under special circumstances, we have seen in the last 20 years, 30 years since this provision has been there, that departments have done it sometimes even without the knowledge of the cabinet. And random appointments have been done, which then become, long-term appointments, which then come to the state government, and then there's a demand that they be regularized and that they've been working for 10 years, 15 years. Complications come out. Apart from that also, the fact that these individuals who are appointed on the 3F, they actually have to go through an examination and interview process. So while they go through all the similar exercises which an MPSC or a regular employee goes through, or a regular recruitment process goes through, they are only appointed on a temporary basis. So it's also unfair to the people who are actually being appointed under 3F. So therefore, we went through the entire process and we saw that 3F was actually leading to more complications than actually helping us resolve a problem. But we realized that it was being done because MPSC was overburdened. And if you remember last time, it took 5 years for the doctors to be recruited under the MPSC because they were overburdened. But again, you'll remember that because they were overburdened, we created the police recruitment board, we created the Meghalaya Education Recruitment Board, we created the Medical Department Recruitment Board, we created the CNRD Recruitment Board, and many other departments now have their own recruitment boards. And hence the pressure and on MPSC is lesser than before. If you remember, we've also reformed MPSC by ensuring that if there's the same qualification, suppose you have a qualification as mechanical engineer, and there's mechanical engineers required in different departments. We don't do exams now where we have a mechanical engineer for MECL power department, different recruitment, MECL for PHE, different recruitment, mechanical engineer for PHE, different department. We don't do that anymore. We have one recruitment for mechanical engineers, and then each department then accordingly gives their vacancies, and then we send the successful candidates to those departments. So overall, if you look at the recruitment processes have been streamlined now. And therefore, we expect that the kind of time that it used to take for us to recruit, for vacancies is much lesser than compared to what it was before, which means that the provisions of 3F are not as much required as they were in the past because reforms are taking place. Another thing is very important to note, that another big reform that's taking place in the personal department is automation in terms of informing us about the retirements that are going to take place and vacancies that are going to take place because of retirements, and the promotions that will be appearing because of those retirements, and obviously vacancies coming up because of those retirements. All those information will automatically be given to us through a computer generated system. The seventh agenda today that we had was regularization of services of 38 ad hoc employees appointed on or before 31st December 2007, in respect of whom the original sanction orders are not presently traceable, but whose appointment against sanction post have been verified through competent official records. Now, let me explain this in detail. As you're aware that based on Supreme Court ruling, and based on that Supreme Court ruling, cutoff date of 31st of December 2007, way back in 2022 or 23, we had taken a decision that ad hoc employees who had been appointed on sanction post, but without following the necessary procedures, will be regularized by the government. That time, the Supreme Court had given us two options. The option number one was that you remove all these ad hoc employees and you go for a fresh recruitment, or you go for a one-time settlement where before 31st of December, those who were appointed ad hoc, you regularize all of them. Obviously, since Supreme Court gave us that option, we took that option and we regularized. So we could have removed all of them and gone for fresh recruitment, but we realized that these employees have been working for a long time and it would not be fair for us to simply remove them. And therefore, since Supreme Court gave us that option, we took it and we regularized 3,000 employees or 2,000 plus employees at that point in time. Later on, a large number of employees whose data was not available with the department when this particular decision was taken, again approached the departments, and those employees further gave proof to show that they also were appointed on ad hoc basis against sanctioned post before 31st December. And based on that, another 1,000 employees were regularized in the second batch. Again, after many months, a third batch came, where another 1,000 employees who were also again ad hoc, appointed without procedure against sanctioned post, came to us again. And they didn't come, but departments in the list. And based on that, another 1,000 were regularized. So 4,000 ad hoc employees who were recruited by departments without following proper procedure of recruitment, of interview or examination, but were appointed against sanctioned post, getting scale by the government, were regularized. So that was the story or the phase number 3. Today is phase number 4 of that same procedure. These 38 employees who are there have been receiving their scale as per the sanctioned post that were there. The problem was that there was no letter of sanction from the particular HOD. So therefore, though they were getting the scale, though they were getting the salary as per the sanctioned post and as per the scale that they're supposed to get, the letter sanctioning that particular post was not available with the department. And hence the cabinet had to take a decision whether we will regularize them, because there was no proof to show that the post was actually sanctioned. Therefore, we went into details and we asked the Treasury Department that whether these salaries are being paid by the Finance Department in the last many years through the Treasury, and whether it is meant for that particular post and whether it's being done on a regular basis. So based on the data and information received from the Finance Department, we came to the conclusion that though the sanction letter is not available for the sanction of the post, the fact that they are getting salary against a sanctioned post through the Treasury for the last many years since they joined is proof to show that this post was sanctioned. Otherwise, they would have never got the salary through the Treasury into their account. Based on that data and that evidence that we received, we again took the directors and HODs on board, and we asked them to give an undertaking that yes, these people have been working for these many days. The money from the Treasury has been going into their accounts, which proves that this was a sanctioned post. Though the letter is missing, but we certify that this person has been working on an ad hoc basis against a sanctioned post. So after this evidence was received from the departments, and after Personnel Department has discussed this whole in detail with the Finance Department, the Cabinet today was satisfied with that evidence, and we finally accepted the evidence, and we have agreed to further now to regularize these 38 ad hoc employees appointed on or before 31st of December, in respect of whom the original sanction orders are not presently traceable. So these were the 7 decisions that were taken in the Cabinet today.